Salutations, dark listeners. Imagine this: a city where the walls never end, where the air is thick with secrets and the shadows hold more than just darkness. Tonight, I'm going to take you to a place that's far worse than haunted. This is a story of when I found myself walking the streets of Kowloon Walled City, back when it was still alive, a maze of flesh and concrete crawling with people, and something far darker. I don't know what I was getting into. At first it seemed like just another urban exploration trip. I'd heard about Kowloon Walled City, this place that had been left behind by time, crammed between tight alleyways and buildings that reached for the heavens, barely standing. People said it was full of life. They said it was a mess of criminals, addicts, and forgotten souls. The first time I stepped into it felt like stepping into a different world. The narrow alleyways were so tight, I had to turn sideways just to squeeze through. The stench was thick, a mix of rotting food, human sweat, and something else I couldn't place. The worst part? The cluttered noise, the shouting, the crying, the sound of chains clinking, doors slamming, and something else. Something that made my skin crawl. It was alive. The city itself was alive. The walls were breathing. I wandered deeper into the maze. The light from the street lamps barely reached the ground. The further I went, the darker it got. I passed dingy shops that sold whatever could be traded in this place. Cheap knockoffs, drugs, stolen goods. The walls were covered in graffiti and warnings, written in languages I didn't recognize. Then I heard something. A sound so subtle at first, I thought I was imagining it. A soft knock. I looked around, but no one was there. I turned. A door, just ahead. A figure passed behind the window. A shadow. Someone was in there. I didn't know what was worse, the fact that I couldn't tell who was there, or the fact that they knew I was there. The knock wasn't for me. It was for them. I kept walking. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe I was just too deep in the hellhole to turn back. The sounds around me kept shifting. A door slamming, then something more. A window shattering down the alley. The sound of footsteps in the distance, getting closer. I ducked into a corner and hid. My heart pounded. I couldn't breathe. I knew someone was following me. I could feel it. The footsteps kept coming, just behind me, then stopping, then started again. There was no escape. I was trapped between walls that never seemed to end, a maze of broken corridors and twisted alleyways. I kept looking over my shoulder, hoping I was just being paranoid, but the fear was real. Someone was watching me. I came to an intersection where the alleyways met, and in front of me there was a building with a flickering neon sign. It wasn't much, just a broken down apartment, but the sound of voices behind it caught my attention. I crept closer, trying to stay out of sight. I could hear a man's voice, muffled but angry, then a woman's scream. It cut through the air, high-pitched, raw. It was followed by thuds, like something heavy falling, and then more shouting. I froze. Something was happening inside, something violent. The walls around me seemed to press in tighter. I was too close, and I knew it. I couldn't run. If I moved, the figure chasing me would find me, and I had no idea what the hell was going on in that apartment. More shouting. Another scream. The sound of furniture breaking. Then, the silence. I didn't want to see what was next, but I had to know. My feet moved on their own. I peered through a crack in the wall. What I saw made my stomach churn. The woman's body was slumped on the floor, eyes wide open. Blood pooled around her. The man, he was gone. But I wasn't alone. The stalker had found me. I turned to run, but it was too late. The alley was crowded with people now, but it didn't matter. I couldn't hide anymore. The shadow that had been following me were now closing in. I felt it in my chest, the suffocating weight of the walls, the smell of death that clung in the air. I pushed through the crowd, dodging people who stared, but didn't speak. It was like they weren't real, like they were part of the city, the forgotten souls that never left. I could feel the figure behind me, always just out of reach, but closer every second. I couldn't breathe. The walls were so close. I could feel them pressing against me. The city was squeezing me, trapping me in its grip. And then I heard the footsteps, closer. I was about to turn a corner when I felt something sharp jab in my back. A hand, a cold grip. I spun around, but it was too late. The figure had me. There was no way left to run. I looked up. A pair of cold eyes stared back at me. But it wasn't just him. The others were all around. I was surrounded. The city had claimed me, just like it claimed everyone else who thought they could wander into its maze. And as the hands grabbed me, pulling me into the darkness, I realized the city never lets you leave. So, dark listeners, what would you do? Would you have been able to escape Kowloon's grasp? Or would you have been just another lost soul in its depths? Comment below. Let me know how you would have survived in the City of Shadows. Oh, by the way, there's actually a game inspired by Kowloon Walled City, where you can explore the haunting streets, feel the claustrophobic pressure, and survive the dangers of the city. If you want to see the gameplay for the nightmarish place, let me know in the comments and I might just stream it. Like this video if you want to spread the signal. Subscribe and share if you're ready for more horror stories like this one. Until the next transmission, stay tuned, dark listeners. The walls are always listening.